No matter our race, our background, or our zip code, most of us believe that for our democracy to work for all of us, it has to include all of us. Since the 2020 election, our right to vote has been under a deliberate and pervasive attack at the state level. All voters should have the freedom to vote equally, but a handful of politicians want to put up barriers to silence our voices based on what we look like, where we live, or how we vote. Here is why this matters right now. Despite the fact that the vast majority of Americans support voting by mail and want more access to the ballot, Republican lawmakers in at least 40 states have introduced more than 250 bills to restrict access to the ballot. Here are some of the worst offenders. In Arizona, Republican lawmakers have introduced more than 50 anti-democracy bills. These bills would eliminate or restrict voting by mail. They would gut the grassroots ballot initiative process. They would criminalize protest. And they would give the state legislature the power to take control over the outcome of the election, which means silencing voters. Ohio has proved that it's not just legislators who are trying to limit voting right now. Drop boxes are a common sense tool. They allow voters to avoid long lines, drop off their ballots safely and securely inside a locked big box, and they fill in for limited postal service in some areas. And they've been used all across the country. But despite this, Secretary of State Frank LaRose in Ohio arbitrarily restricted the number of drop boxes in the state to just one per county in 2020. And he's fighting to keep it that way. First, he said that one drop box in every county was really all that voters were allowed under the law. Even though then courts said that argument didn't have any merit, he still has persisted and has refused to allow counties to add more than one drop box. That means Cuyahoga County, which has 800,000 registered voters and is also where Cleveland is, has the same number of ballot drop boxes, just one, as Noble County, which has only 8,000 registered voters. How's that fair? In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis called for changes to make voting harder for Floridians, and the legislature answered. Despite heavy opposition from the 67 county election chiefs in the state of Florida, state senators are trying to cut back on vote by mail access, including getting rid of ballot return drop boxes entirely. These examples are part of a pattern. Over and over, lawmakers and decision makers in states are rushing to make decisions right now, often in secret, quietly, you and I don't know about it, to place deliberate barriers between us and the ballot box in future elections. Voters showed in 2020 that they want an election system that works for every voter. Drop boxes, early voting, voting by mail should be standard operating procedure, not just in a pandemic. And we're not going to go backwards. We can't wait until the next big election year to have this conversation. By then, it's going to be too late. We have to galvanize right now to stop them in their tracks. To move forward together as a country, we have to ensure that every eligible American can cast a ballot so that we're able to elect leaders who govern in our interests and make the promise of our democracy real for each and every one of us. Go to allvotingislocal.org and join the fight.